Isn't it beautiful? When life ends, it gives off a final lingering aroma. Light is but a farewell gift from the darkness to those on their way to die. I've been waiting, QAW, for a long time. Waiting for your birth, your growth, and the finality of today. We may all be headed straight to hell, but what better place for us than this? It's our only home. This is the Grand Reset. Sunday, October 24th, at the Scared Circle, it all ends.
Welcome to Left Night with Kendra Dossie, and here's your host, Kendra Dossie.
Zach, we can't do the same bit again. We got to come up with something new, don't we?
Well, if you've ever seen me do comedy, you would realize all I do is the same bit again and again. No, I as you'll notice, I'm pointing in this direction and not towards you. Kendra is over there. They just can't be on screen right now, so it's going to be you and I today again.
Okay, tell Kendra I said hey.
Okay. Yeah. So you're, as you can see, friends of the show, that Logan is back again for another episode, sort of becoming the Joan Rivers to Kendra's Johnny Carson. That is a reference that is too old for anybody watching this. But yeah, although it's Mom's probably watching. So.
I was gonna say our mom. That one was just for her.
That was just for Mom. So, how are you this week, Logan?
You know, I've been doing pretty good week. I would say all in all, we made it to Thursday. So.
Yeah, right. One more. All right. What? All right. Let's peel back the curtain here and talk about how you do not have a Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job. You cannot
okay.
You cannot be like, oh, we made it to Thursday. It doesn't matter to you.
Right, but I know that it's Thursday and it's Thursday, so that means I'm I've made some schedule for myself this week that I've stuck to. So okay. I'm proud of myself for that.
All right. Well, it's the small victories. It is the small victories. So we talked about it this week. We want to talk about Netflix in particular, streaming in general. But Netflix, and now Netflix, to my knowledge, is the one major streaming platform that has not cut you a check. Is that correct?
There might be another one too, but yes, I've never been employed by Netflix, and so we can really go into that.
Yeah. Let's really go into, because they had there was a walk-off by a bunch of employees this week. In response to it's sort of like you kind of have to just like sort of follow the trail. It's like they were walking off because somebody got fired. Why did somebody get fired? Because they leaked the information about how much people were getting paid for certain Netflix shows. Why did they leak that information? Because it was related to what happened in the most recent Dave Chappelle special. So it's sort of a cake that we have to get into. And I think number one, I mean, we can talk about the Dave Chappelle special, but ultimately, that's not what led to, in itself, is not what led to any of this. And I feel like that is sort of getting lost in the shuffle. That it's not really something that is about Dave Chappelle.
Right. It's really an anti-solidarity, it's a solidarity in the face of them trying to squash that out. The employee who was fired for leaking the emails also was an organizer of the walkout to begin with. They were organizing a trans walkout. So at that point they were just looking for any reason of anything that they could have done wrong to means for termination.
Right. And it is. I mean, the whole thing is sort of very cynical in the way that Netflix is handling it, because Netflix really does want to, they have a whole special Netflix Twitter account just for promoting LGBTQ presence on Netflix, and they have a whole cartoon about drag queens, and they're very
right. They've got a new cartoon, the Q Force, that's all supposed to be representational and about a special government force that's queer and LGBTQIA and all that stuff. They really think they're on the right side of things while simultaneously doing some really wretched things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah, it's really it's really something. The way that they the way that they sort of handle this whole thing, and I mean, I don't know where any of it goes from here, because I'm sure some people will cancel their Netflix, but not everybody will. But we've really made streaming such a form of media consumption now that, I mean, but because I don't know where to go, because also Netflix, if we're just being candid, it kind of just sucks now. They I haven't watched Squid Game. People seem to like Squid Game, but it seems like there's just not good stuff on it anymore.
Right, and also what they spend their money, what they choose to produce and spend a lot of money on versus what they don't, and how that's really not reflected in the things that become popular. I think part of that email that was leaked, they said these numbers might be off, but it's something along the lines of upwards of 30 million spent on the Chappelle special, 3 million spent on the Bo Burnham special that he did by himself, and then even less than that was spent on Squid Game. So they're not even good at being this is a worthwhile investment, which is the crazy part. Like you said, it's mostly bad, and the things that are supposed to be good miss most of the time.
Right, and I do understand why Dave Chappelle got a lot of money. It's because he did, he withheld he was a marketable figure who withheld his art for over a decade, and he made a real gamble, and it paid off very well for him. But just the way that they just they'll just cancel shows after very few things make it to 3 seasons now, because around that point is when they would have to start renegotiating contracts for shows that are popular, and yeah, they like you said, there's no transparency. There's no Nielsen rating equivalent for streaming services, and for something like Netflix, why would there be? Because they're not selling commercials. But
right.
But it's not clear where streaming goes from here, I think, because we are past peak stream at this point.
Right. I think the one thing that we know is that streaming isn't going anywhere. Is that streaming is it's fully here, and it's going to play out entirely chaotically and stay.
Right. And I think a lot about there was a thing that I read this week about how like Netflix, I'm sorry, the other one, Disney Plus, has like the least number of like things that are watchable on it, like individual properties of any
like the least hours
yeah
of
content.
Of content.
But at the same time, they own all of the content. So, like why did we let this be the way things are, where we don't have any copies of anything, and we're just at the whim of 5 or 6 companies that own all of the media to determine, what they're going to even let us like see at any
right, and the even more dystopian version of it is when you think about like Apple TV streaming. They create the devices that we watch our TV on too.
Right.
Which is a whole other layer of it being entirely chaotic, where they can really just control it all.
Right. Which is
they choose to.
Yes.
More.
And I would like to. There's a few. We could break up these large media companies, I think. But we can also just we've let Disney in particular just meddle with the intellectual property rights and what the law is on that for decades now. I don't think anything that was created before I was born should be public domain. I think
that's probably about the mark.
I think it just. I don't know if it's because of my age or just I'm just taking that as oh yeah, if it was before I can remember it, nobody really made it. But yeah, there is no reason that you should be able to hold all of these things, like the rights to all of these things. There's no Spider-Man should be public domain. He's been around forever. He's in Times Square. He's everywhere. Spider-Man's everywhere. He should just be public domain at this point. And we can solve a lot of the issues with also just these crappy movies that come out every single year, because they just need to be refreshing the IP that they own.
Right.
Just make everything public domain, I think.
Yeah. And I agree with you there. Just that, and where they choose to police the usage of those things is also you can get a knockoff Spider-Man T-shirt. You can get clothes of all different types that people make, that are knockoffs and this and that. And then they do a deal with some high, Looney Tunes in a high-end, fashion store in New York, like Kith or something like that. And then all of a sudden they're selling a T-shirt with Bugs Bunny on it, and it's $125. And it's the same thing of it's all just hype about things and maintaining the ownership of it.
Right. And I think, I can see also us moving to more things. Have you ever used? I don't know why I've been watching stuff on it recently, but have you ever used Tubi?
When I had no versions of Hulu and things, I definitely tried, but I don't think I spent much time on it.
I really like that the really crappy streaming services I'm really getting into. Just because they really remind me of illegally watching things. Everything is completely legal on them, but I just feel the nostalgia for illegally streaming things when I use Tubi.
It's like that fix of having snuck your candy into the movie theater, and you're like, I'm getting this, the experience.
Yeah, even the way that they have commercials at the beginning, now they're for prescription drugs, but they feel like a porn ad that I'm trying to find the correct X button to get rid of it. So that's where we are with those. I don't know where this puts us in terms of media consumption in the future. Frankly, I'm a bit of a snob. I could probably pare down to just the Criterion channel, and I would be happy. But I am not fun. So for people who are fun, I don't know what the future is going to hold in terms of our media consumption.
Yeah, and I think the way it will also affect media workers is very important to see over the next 10 years, or maybe even less time, really.
Right. I mean that's a big part of the IATSE thing going on right now. Is the demands related to streaming services,
Right.
at which streaming is becoming king. So people who are doing streaming stuff, well, we're going to find out. Was streaming just popular because of all of the labor loopholes that could be exploited through it, or is it really how people want to watch things?
Right, especially because it works the same way as cable packages now with Hulu and stuff, where you have your Hulu, but you get Hulu with live TV, or Hulu with live TV with the movies, or with this and with that, and that's just a cable package.
Right. We're slowly making our way back around the circle back into cable packages,
right.
Which is fine by me. I don't care. I don't want to spend a lot of money, and I want to watch things that are good. That's all that matters to most people. But then you get stuck. There's no good non-exploitative ways to get that. It sucks.
Well, dang.
Yeah. We got a message here. A Bug Supreme, our good friend Dan, said first he complimented Logan's hair. Very good hair. He says Quibi released movies in bits so they could pay TV wages and benefits instead of movie pay and benefits. That is true. Quibi was a big. That was Quibi's whole sort of game, was making short things, because the shorter something was, the more loopholes there were in terms of what you could classify it as. So Quibi went down the gutter real quick, which good riddance to that dumb service.
Right.
But in Quibi's wake, I mean, we're just going to see more and more of these things, unless there's a big change to entertainment labor and its relationship to the mediums that are
right. And half of what was on Quibi was just old shows from MTV, I feel. So it's again, they're trying to, as cheaply as possible, get content out there that maybe something can hit. Maybe we can get those views and make the money off of it without spending anything.
Right. Well, we're going to move on from that. We do have something very sad happened this week. Related to somebody that we lost in the world of politics. We do have a quick video to show for that commemoration that we're going to cut to now.
Hey, so as a lot of people know, Colin Powell, General Colin Powell, died this week. So here on Left Night, we wanted to hold a moment of silence to think about Colin Powell. So if we could all just bow our heads very quickly for a moment of silence. Yeah. Thank you.
Got him!
Hey, I knew the bit, and I still even got caught. I was like, wait, what am I about to be a part of?
Got him. Fuck off, Colin Powell.
Fuck that guy. Hard.
Did you see? So I didn't really see that. I mean, I saw the news media crying crocodile tears for him. I didn't see it. I didn't really see any normal people who were sad about it. Did you see?
I saw a lot of it. I saw a whole lot of it. A lot of jazz musicians that I follow on Instagram post there were too many pictures of Colin Powell on my feed that day and the day after, and people were doing the weird demented thing that they did with where they're oh, look at young Joe Biden, he's so hot, I love him now, and they were posting pictures of young Colin Powell, and they're oh man, and look, he was hot. What? was fucking evil. Who
Yeah.
gives a shit if he was hot one
Yeah.
time when he was younger?
Yes. A lot of people are hot when they're young. Do you not know how time works?
Right.
It's very. I mean, I guess a lot of people. So I guess I've alienated a lot of type of people who would say these types of things, but just like top to bottom, like got his start, climbed up the ranks because he was willing to do cover up for the My Lai massacre in Vietnam. Just involved in Iran Contra in the 80s. Was involved in the first Iraq War and all of the devastation there, and then like took the principled stance that like, I don't know about this war that I'm rubber stamping right now. I don't know if it's like just absolutely a bad fucking person, and it would have been more justice to see him not die so peaceful and feeling as if he had accomplished great things in his life. He should have spent his final moments with a great shame. But he, a million dead Iraqis, and who cares? I mean, their lives didn't matter, so I don't see why anybody should care about Colin Powell's life.
Right, and like it's to one day be posting Black Lives Matter on your profile, and then it's like those are black people, those are brown people, those are people like that he's killing, and it's like doing the same mental gymnastics to and I think it's just that same shit where it's like people just, maybe were younger when he was at his worst and haven't done the research or haven't done the research, but like people are like, oh yeah, I remember that name. That's from when my life was easier. He must have been good.
Right.
Well, it's like, no, they've always been bad. Everyone in all those positions.
You just didn't know what was going on. You were a child. Yeah.
You're a stupid kid. Like, and that's where I think it comes from. And I just don't know where the disconnect is, where they're like, but he blazed trails. Trails to do what?
For what? Yes. I recommend those who would like to, or if you don't want to, I think you should do it anyway. But I recommend looking up Kwame Tur's quotes about Colin Powell and about black people in the military, because they sum up. It's a pretty succinct message about why any sort of excitement or pride in somebody like Colin Powell is ultimately either meaningless or evil. So good. Oh, and I do want to make a statement that this all does relate back to Dave Chappelle, because if Dave Chappelle had not put out a special or had put out a better special, we would all be talking about how during the classic Chappelle Show sketch, the racial draft, Colin Powell was drafted to the white delegation, so he doesn't even count.
Right.
Yeah.
Back when he was funny, he did do this.
Yes, this was a very good sketch. The racial draft. I don't know why anyone's watching this show. Why don't you just go watch old Chappelle Show sketches? So Colin Powell, dead as hell. We're not going to miss you. And someone else who's not dead, but was hospitalized this week, was the Queen of England. And I got to say, like, people talked a lot about, like, oh, it'll be so great when Kissinger dies. Like, that'll be very funny. And it will be. But the day that the Queen dies will be especially funny, because British people will be so sad, and they will
American people are going to be so sad.
Yeah, Americans as well. But it will be we can laugh very hard about how upset people are about this old lady who runs the country because her grandfather did. I don't know. but the queen is hospitalized. So if you got the queen in your death pool, best of luck to you. I'm still hoping Kissinger goes first, but the queen will be a funny death.
Fair to say.
Yes. Dan pointed out that Colin Powell was a board member at Salesforce, which is a terrible tech company that makes products that don't work and didn't make money for like 10 years. And that makes me think about how Kissinger was a board member at Theranos. So why do all of these bogus VC like Silicon Valley companies, why do they all have war criminals on their board?
It's the way to do it.
Like, that's so weird to me that these are like companies of the future of tech, and you need to have killed 1 million people to be taken seriously. You need somebody who killed 1 million people on your board.
Yeah, you got to know how to exploit.
Right. That's so weird to me. But so the queen still alive, but keep an eye on her. What else do we got here? Facebook announced that they're thinking of coming up with a new name. Any suggestions?
Don't come here.
I think they should go back to Hot or Not. I think they should just go back to the original purpose of it.
Going back to Hot or Not. Maybe bring back the Facebook vintage.
Yes.
Something like that.
Or yeah, just ditch the Facebook and just go bring back the and just name it the.
I mean that could be the move.
Yes.
It's chic. It's quick. You know.
Yes. Also, if we want to go back to when I had to illegally stream stuff and click away from ads, it seemed like there was a very large market for a social media website called Fuckbook. So maybe it's time.
That's got to be taken already, though, by now.
I think they can. I think they can take it. What else? What else are we going on? How much time we have left? So did you see this with basketball average journeyman Enes Kanter?
What's the news on Enes Kanter?
So Enes Kanter, before the Celtics game last night, which was a great game despite a devastating loss, Enes Kanter tweeted something about like free Tibet, and then people were saying that like Enes Kanter didn't get to play in the game last night because he tweeted that. And it's like, no, he didn't play because he sucks.
Yeah, because he's the backup to the backup.
Right.
Because they were playing small ball against the Knicks, and the Knicks don't have a center.
Right. It's he's just a bad basketball player. Like even in the there are some bad basketball players that are fun to watch.
Right.
Enes Kanter is bad and also not fun to watch. And it is funny that people think that is the reason why he was.
He's had some backlash from old tweets, right, about political things. So is that why they're trying to like draw comparisons, right?
I mean, here's the thing: is that he has legitimate gripes with Erdogan, the Turkish president. I believe he's a president, the leader of the country, the executive leader of Turkey, Erdogan. He has real gripes with him, but. To deal with those gripes, he just meets with like people like Hillary Clinton and Jared Kushner to talk about his problems. And if you meet with those people all the time to try to deal with something, it just breaks your brain where you just go out and just like repeat stuff like Free Tibet, which hasn't really been a movement for like 20 something years because it's not really they've been doing so many other things there's been so much other sort of like state propaganda related to China and they know that it's the people you're not going to go into Tibet now and like reinstall the Dalai Lama. Like that's not going to happen now.
Right. Like free with what plan, with what means, with like what is the overall
like yeah like people aren't going. It would be like if you tried to like reinstall the Pope in like central France as like, oh, the Holy Roman Empire is back, like, oh, the Pope's in charge here again. Like it's
that's
like
what people are asking for.
yeah, it's like it's not gonna happen. But it is very funny to me that people think that it is a political thing and not just he's not good at basketball.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. All right. Well, I'm going to, if it's okay with you, I'm going to give some closing remarks.
Actually, I thought I would.
Okay. All right. No, please.
No. Go ahead.
All right. Don't say stuff like that unless you're ready to. All right. Then I'm going to close
Next
out.
time.
So here in Boston, get that New Yorker off the screen. We're talking about Boston, where this week Kim Janey, mayor of Boston, decided that they're going to do homeless encampment clearing out around Melnia Cass Boulevard, what is oftentimes called Mass and Cass, because of the large number of homelessness and drug addiction that is there. They're going to clear out the camping encampments that are there. And their reasoning was that this is not adequate for housing. And I would agree that it is not adequate housing. But if something's not adequate housing and you're going to get rid of it, you need to be replacing it with good housing. And I'm going to repeat the same analogy I used on Twitter earlier this week. If I'm eating candy for breakfast all the time, it's very clear to say that's not a good breakfast. But unless you're going to give me waffles and fresh fruit and some oatmeal, shut the fuck up, okay? That's what I'm eating because I need to eat something in the morning. So the same thing is true for the camps. Get these people housing or leave the tents. You can't just clear out tents. So that's our show today. Go and see Logan in whatever musical he gets booked in. If you know any Broadway producers, put in a good word for him. And stay tuned for Quarantine Action Wrestling, their final weekly show, and then the pay-per-view episode that's not really pay-per-view will be this Saturday. So see the exciting conclusion of Quarantine Action Wrestling in the penultimate episode tonight.